Well, first of all, isn't it wonderful that God was taking care of Abraham even in his disobedience? The fact is that he was there in the land of Egypt, he had lied, and God was protecting Sarah and protecting him. Why? Because God still had a purpose for Abraham. And you know, one of the points I like to emphasize, John, is that when Abraham left Canaan to go into Egypt, even though he was in disobedience, God didn't stop at the border and say, I'm not going into Egypt with you. God goes with us even during those times of backsliding. He knows where we are, and He is the one who wants to restore us and to bring us back and to remind us of His goodness and His promises. Earlier you talked about the fact that Abraham's faith saved him, and we'll emphasize that in just a moment. But I want people to understand today, this is so critical, that every famine is the test of our trust. And by the way, I want to emphasize that some people are going through a famine of their own making. It's their own fault that they are where they are. I've received plenty of letters from people who made bad financial decisions, foolish decisions, and now they're living with those consequences. Other people are in a famine that they had nothing to do with. In other words, this came upon them and was totally and completely out of their control. I want to say to both groups today, God is with you. I like to emphasize that God is just as willing to deliver us from problems that we ourselves have made as He is to deliver us from those that have been forced upon us by others and their foolish decisions. So whoever may be listening today, God is with them right there. And their famine might not be simply physical, a matter of physical food or a financial downturn. It could be a relational issue. It could be a health issue. Maybe somebody who's listening discovered this past week that they had terminal cancer. And one of the questions they are trying to grapple with is God with me in this particular famine, this particular heartache? And the answer to that question is, of course. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee, the Scripture says. And God is with us at all times. So God restores Abraham and brings him back into the land, and Abraham now builds an altar unto the Lord again. But here's a critical point I don't want anyone to miss. And that is that every famine, as I mentioned, is a test of our trust. Abraham goes into the land and says, say that you're my sister, if not, Pharaoh will kill me. John, there was no possibility in the world that Pharaoh could kill Abraham. And the reason is because if you read the opening verses of chapter 12, what is it that God said? God said, Abraham, I'm going to give you this land. God shows him the dimensions later in great detail and says that I am giving it to you and to your seed forever as an everlasting possession. Abraham didn't have any children at that point, clearly. There was no possibility that he could die. God had given him a promise. And if Abraham had clung to that promise, Abraham would have continued to believe and to trust God. I think he would have stayed in the land, and he'd have discovered that God is able to see us through even a famine if we trust Him while we are in it. Now, this doesn't mean that we as believers should not be very anxious to try to help others who are going through a time of famine. You know, at our church, we have a committee that works to help those who are in financial need because there are so many people going through a famine today. And what we want to do is to help them financially. But no matter where you are, I speak even to those and you feel that people have forsaken you. Promises made have not been fulfilled. God is with you there and cares about you and loves you.